The Dagger of Spirits. I initially thought this was the worst piece of gear in the whole update because when opponent blocks an incoming special attack, turn 50% of the block damage into health. Like, the game actually implying that in order to get a benefit, you need to let your, like, do special attack to your opponent's block. Which makes no sense. You don't want opponents to block your attacks, you want to kill them as fast as possible. So, in my opinion, still, this is one of the worst abilities on a gear that I've ever seen. But it makes sense because they did it so the bosses in the tower are going to be incredibly annoying, healing every single time you block their special attacks. That was the only reason they did it. I still believe it's horrible for you to own this piece of gear. Reduced power cost is nice, but so the same thing does Bloody Voodoo Doll, which is so much easier to get. But there is one redeeming quality for this piece of gear that might actually save it, is that Oblivion debuff on Special 2 for 15 seconds. Now, we have no knowledge, as far as I know. It's not like it doesn't say anywhere what is Oblivion debuff and what does it do. So we're just gonna, the only way to find out what does it do is to actually use it right now. Do Special 2 on my baby Liu King and see what happens. Oblivion debuff, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna find out once and for all what it is, how good is this, and will it save this piece of gear. Okay, the problem is that Special 2 actually gonna kill him. No, okay, stop. We got a debuff. It doesn't actually show. I thought it shows debuffs in here for some reason. Okay, there is a debuff. I don't think anything changed. I mean, he doesn't do much. Does he just... Okay, let's see what he does. He just tagged out. Okay, let's do this to this guy. Okay, let's see what he does. Oblivion. I don't think anything happens. He doesn't crit. Does it reduce your critical chance? Because I didn't see a single critical hit from this guy. That's an interesting... pretty interesting thing. By the way, thank you so much, Ibrahim, for letting me use your account with all this beautiful maxed out gear. We can actually do some testing and find out what it does. Alright, this was pretty easy. So how do I find out? Like, I've read some comments on my channel that Oblivion, like, brings the level down to 100. I mean, to 1. From whatever level you are, it brings you down to 1. And something else. Okay, let me... Is there... I'm gonna get to the bottom of this. Okay, there is glossary. Maybe it has some information about Oblivion debuff. There's a lot of things in here. Please say there's gonna be Oblivion. It's not in here. I don't understand. Where did people get information? All right, let me go to Google. Okay, I actually found this on Twitter on the image where it describes every single piece of gear. It actually says what Oblivion does. It makes absolutely zero sense that it doesn't show you what it does in the game at any point. Like, it's... Unless you go to Twitter and look at one specific post where, like, hidden very deeply in the picture, there is a brief description of what Oblivion is. It doesn't say so anywhere else in the game, which blows my mind. Absolutely unacceptable. Add it to glossary, please. So, Oblivion removes effects from opponents' special attacks, decreases their critical hit chance to 0, and downgrades them back to level 1. Which is a complete lie. Because if they got downgraded to level 1, they would lose a bunch of health. And when I did my Special 2, their health didn't change. So what exactly does it mean, downgrades them back to level 1? Okay, let's go back to Faction Wars and let's play this again. I'm kinda trying to understand this. So right now... Oh god. This guy has 99,000 HP. Let's see what happens after I put him in Oblivion. I do my Special 2. He still has 99. Okay, he's in Oblivion. So technically now... Okay, you can see. You could actually see his special, like, Scorpion special attacks. His special 2 didn't have fire anymore. So they basically just lost the debuffs from their special. So for example, if you have Classic Reptile and you put Oblivion debuff on them, he will not be able to poison you with his special attacks. Okay. And this lasts for 15 seconds. That's pretty much decreases their critical hit chance to 0 and downgrades them back to level 1. Downgrading part, I still don't get it. They still have the same stats. They still have access to their special attacks. If they were actually downgraded to level 1, they would lose their access to special 2 and special 3. Like, their stats still stay the same, so what is the freaking point? So special 2. Okay. Oblivion. I'm trying to wrap my mind about it. I'm trying to find a single useful thing this Oblivion does.
Well done.
As we just discovered, downgrades them back to level 1. That part is completely worthless. It literally does nothing, it looks like. Then decreases critical hit chance to 0 for 15 seconds. I guess it's fine. That's pretty much the only useful thing this debuff does. But is it that big of a deal? Like, in my opinion, if you face, let's take a look at a few situations. For example, you face a regular team in towers, and you use Oblivion on them, and they basically cannot do critical hits, but they still will do crap ton of damage because the tower gear increases their damage. And a lot of characters can do insane damage without relying on critical attacks. So what if somebody didn't even have critical attack gear on him? It's not going to do anything at all. So 2 parts pretty much useless, almost useless. Now the first part is removes effects from opponent's special attacks. Let's say somebody did this to you. Somebody put you in Oblivion. You just wait for it to expire, or you take out to a different character. That's one thing. That's not even part of the argument. The main thing, in my opinion, that makes this absolutely worthless. Let me open up this gear just so you can see what we're talking about. So let's take a look. First of all, again, remember, this is an epic tower piece, which is going to be extremely difficult to max out or extremely expensive to max out. One of the two. Special attack 2 and X-ray or fatal blow. Apply Oblivion debuff. So basically, if you do your special 2 or X-ray to somebody, like if it's a good character, if it's a decent character, they are gonna die or get close to dying, so you probably will be able to finish them off. Like, I just feel like Mortal Kombat Mobile, the way it works, the way fighting mechanics works, whatever you're getting from your special 2, that only affects the character that you're fighting, they're gonna take out. Also a possibility. Even if they don't die, they're gonna take out after they take a lot of damage. Just the way the game works. When you receive a buff against the enemy after you do a giant amount of damage to them, it's nearly worthless. If this was on Special 1, or maybe on Tag-In puts your opponent into Oblivion, it would be so much better. On Special 2 or X-Ray, something that already has an ability to kill your enemy in most cases. Let's say you're fighting the bosses, probably the only situation where they're not gonna just die to your Special 2. You're fighting the bosses. So what does this Oblivion helps you to do? Bosses, let's say, will not be able to snare you with their special attacks. They will not be able to put dots on you. Okay, for 15 seconds, fine. Then the critical chance go to 0, but they still have tower gear that increases their damage by 600%, let's say. And they pretty much usually wear tower gear. So if the tower piece has, like, if the current tower has a lot of critical hit chance increases, okay, it might do something. But if it doesn't, it's worthless. And then again, downgrading them to level 1, they need to explain what it means, because I don't see anything indicating that anything happens. Like, how... What do they lose by downgrading to level 1? Like, what do they lose? They don't lose health. It's impossible to see if they actually lose attack. They still seem to do decent amount of damage. They don't lose access to special attacks. So what else would you lose from downgrading to level 1? Getting all of that combined makes this the worst epic tower piece in the history of MK Mobile, in my opinion. The worst. Where, like, the part with 50% of block damage into health and this Oblivion thing, in my opinion, right now, after testing it out and playing it, absolutely horrible and the worst things you could put on a piece of gear. The only decent thing on this is reduced power cost and special attacks, which can be gotten from so many other sources. There is rare gear that gives you 50% off on your special too, which is, in my opinion, a better deal. It's just the worst epic piece of gear in the game. Let's just be fair. It's absolutely horrible. If you guys got this from random drop, I'm sorry for you. Honestly, I don't see the value in this piece at all. If you, maybe I'm missing something. If you guys can think of a situation where owning this piece of gear would give you some significant advantage in any kind of situation, and none other, like, there is no rare or uncommon piece that could do the same job, I would love to hear it in the comments. But so far, it looks like a giant piece of poop. Why does this piece of gear exist? I don't understand. And this Oblivion debuff, it sounds like it should be the saving grace of this weapon. It sounds like it's gotta be something like some absolutely devastating debuff to your enemy. But honestly, in my opinion, Deathmark is so much better. Any kind of dot is better than this Oblivion. It just seems to do absolutely nothing. I'm sorry, just my opinion. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Thank you, members and Patreons. And thank you, Ibrahim, for providing your account for this review. And I'll see you in the next video, guys. We're going to review every single one of these epic pieces. I'm just curious. It just doesn't get worse than this. I think the other epics are much better than this. Anyway, thank you for watching. A wonderful day. Take care.
Yeah.